Welcome to 30 Days of Marketing Mavens. 30 days, 30 experts, 30 marketing niches. Brought to you by Profit Master Business Solutions. More leads, more sales, and more revenue for your small or medium-sized business. Click findnewrevenue.com to learn more. Now here's your host, Howard Walpoff.
Welcome back to 30 Days of Marketing Mavens. I'm Howard Walpoff. Thank you again for joining us. Again, it's brought to you by Profit Master Business Solutions. Today, we're talking about events. And events is something that's near and dear to my heart. I've worked with different types of events and love what that can do for a company and just really connecting with people. Today, we're fortunate to have Nicole McNabb from M&E Marketing and Events, who's an event strategist. She works with companies to really enhance their results from working these different events and trade shows and these opportunities. It's effective event sponsorship and trade show exhibitor marketing that converts into event ROI. So Nicole, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me here on the podcast and being able to have the opportunity to talk about what I love and helping the audience to use events effectively.
So let's get started with, how did you get involved with events? Let's start with the beginnings.
All the beginning. So even back in high school, which was over 10 years by now, and I always wanted to be in events, but what I knew then has really kind of migrated. So went to school, graduated from Penn State University, and I always knew that that would be the core, but I really had this understanding of event logistics, right? Who needs to be where and when? What needs to be where? How does it get there? And that's where the event planning really began. And so always knew that that event planner, that event production would be the core. And so I started my career really with event logistics. When I graduated and ended up in corporate, I actually managed a business-to-business marketing division, and it was for a mortgage company, which is not that flattering, but it's what I did. And what that allowed me to do was take my background of the event logistics, and what the role was really to support the sales team. And so it's a nationwide company, and I had 70 outside sales reps. Because it was a business-to-business division, all of our marketing campaigns in one way or another revolved around events. So whether it be lunch and learns, networking, regional or nationwide mortgage conferences and trade shows, that was really the core. And so somebody in that role to project manage all of those moving parts effectively, logistically, but also to take the strategy, because when you have a department and you have all these sales people that are working directly with other companies, we want to make sure that we have the strategies in place before, during, and after, but then we can't go to every single event. Of course, all of them would, be calling me, hey, can we go to this event? I want to go to that event, and kind of pitching to us as the marketing team why we should do it. But somebody had to put that strategy together and actually go to the CFO to say, hey, these are the events we should go to, these are why, and this is the campaign that we're going to do. And so that's really the background of tying in the logistical planning, but then how I was able to use it in the corporate world in marketing. And then where I am today was I did not want to do that for mortgages forever. I'll be honest. And by doing this, I realized that there's actually a lot of companies, other industries, that going to these events that they don't necessarily have that point person, or even if they have a marketing team, they may be surrounded of the overall marketing plan. And so my niche and my focus, my love, was still to help those companies when it comes specifically to the campaigns. It may not be their entire marketing plan, but they're using multiple events throughout the year. So that's kind of the progression of going from the event logistics into how I found myself in corporate, into how I'm using it in my own consulting business beyond mortgages.
And sometimes in a business like that and working with that type of atmosphere, mortgages, you really can cut your teeth, and it's all about people and finding the right connection to make the right deals. So you really were working with people and working very hard to get that messaging out for the company.
Yeah, Exactly. And actually during that time was right after the boom. So it was, 2010 era. And I was in corporate for 7 years. So seeing that transition, right, of, okay, you have a really difficult and high compliance industry. And one that I wasn't necessarily passionate for. It's interesting how the tactics may change, right? But the concepts and the fundamentals really do play a part in all the different industries. And whether or not you're in a compliance driven or hard industry, as I call it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it's been interesting to kind of progress and use it not only for the mortgage industry, but be able to apply it for other industries.
You really do have to get creative sometimes with those compliance issues, kind of hold you back in some directions, but open your mind up to find different ways to gain access to people and the information they need to get out to them.
Yeah, for sure.
So now you're off working for yourself. You create your own company, and you're working with individual companies that don't have anything to do with mortgages on a whole, but have their needs and really want to get the most out of being involved in these different trade shows and events. So what kind of process do you have with working with them and getting the most out of these experiences for them?
What I've been able to develop is my process. I call it the 6 foundations to prioritize. You first prioritize so that you can optimize. And I take them through event strategy, the logistics, your outreach, the nurturing, your sales, and the metrics. And so those terms may not be exclusive to the event space, but how I go through each of those stages is how we can then optimize your event results. And what happens is if we are taking a look and optimizing your outreach and your messaging for the event campaigns, more times than not, they can also be optimized for other parts of your business, other parts of your marketing strategy. But I stay in my lane and in my niche within those areas, but specifically for those events. And so going through those 6 foundations, and of course, each one has a deep dive. Each one has their own checklist and process that I go through within those 6 foundations.
Now, each client is different with their needs. So there are some that work well for others and some work well for different companies. I think not all, do all of them apply for each client, or there are things that are really strong for some others?
Good question. So that's where one of the first things that I do is I call them identifying the broken bridges. And I use bridges in my brand quite often because we need to have that foundation so that we can cross over to the next. And so, yes, I go through all 6 of those foundations. However, the process is the same. The tactics and the execution is what makes every event and every company unique. And so it helps streamline not only my process, but they absolutely will not have the same tactics as the next exhibitor or the next sponsor or the next industry that I'm working with. But it helps create that framework so that it's easy to teach, easy to comprehend, but then the execution of how we go through those stages is, that's going to be different. And that's what makes it fun and why I show up every day to different campaigns.
So what are some of the more, I guess, what campaigns really stand out in your mind that you had experience assisting these companies with?
I really like to see when companies already see the value that events can have. I'm not a digital marketer. I'm not a digital agency, right? And that's a part of marketing. So when I can work with companies that already value the connections and the events, that's number one. And then the type of event campaigns that I really enjoy are when they are sponsoring or exhibiting at a show, but it has multiple layers to it. And what I mean by that is you can exhibit at a show. You already know that events are effective or that they're great for your business, but having a table is, let's say, layer number 1. what other opportunities can we get out of that same event? Do we have stage time? Can we do a book release? Can we do a breakout session? Can we do a presentation? Can we support or sponsor the networking event before the keynote? Things like that. I really have a lot of fun when it's more than a table and a booth, but it's only because there's so many more things that we can then tie into the creatives and how to pull all of those moving parts together. So yes, I have helped companies that have a booth and that's what they want to master, but it becomes a lot more fun and a little more complex when you have those multiple layers, and I call them deliverables, when you can then add in all those different components in addition to the tablecloth and booth.
Sure. And there are so many different opportunities that these events provide. They're always looking for sponsors, and they're always giving great opportunities for the companies that will negotiate to be these sponsors. And many companies don't even think twice about taking advantage of it. It's good that you direct these companies you're working with to take full advantage, and I'm sure that they're gaining much more than they even bargained for in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to give a case study, one that I really enjoy doing is if you're going to have a booth, and especially at a large industry conference, is to then have your own cocktail event separate. And that way, as you're meeting people before the event, you can even start making those invitations so that you have more opportunities to touch point with them. Really, you're using the event as a touch point. And so you have the table, you have your exhibitor time, but then to be able to have your own cocktail hour with the people that you care to continue the conversation. So you're always trying to move the conversation forward. And from the table, from the exhibitor booth, where are you going to have that conversation next?
It's an excellent strategy, because you really, as many touch points as possible you can have with the people coming in that you're controlling really helps develop the business that you're looking for. Now, you obviously, this is just only one strategy that you have with the companies you deal with. The question I'm asking everyone is, what is your number one strategy that's really working well for you and for your clients to achieve both your marketing goals?
Meaningful connections. To optimize the time that you have with the people that you're connecting with, because aside from any other tactic that you can do, it really is going to make the difference if you can convert that. And so the strategy that I always say is know who you're talking to beyond their first name. And so who they are, one, as a person, right? You get that opportunity when you're working at events. Who are they as in their character, and can you actually work with this person? Are they going to be a hard client? Are they going to be a strategic partner, right? Like, who are they at the core, but then also who are they in relation to your business? And that's also a segment that I do, is if you can better understand and hone in on who you are talking to, then you can best drive the conversation strategically, because you're not going to pitch someone that is actually a potential referral partner that could really open up new networks and new opportunities, but you've lost that opportunity if you pitch too soon, or if it's not appropriate to pitch at all. Or on the vice versa, if you're just assuming that everybody is a prospect, right? And you're missing out on that meaningful conversation, that meaningful understanding who they are. Again, yes, it's important who they are as a person. Do I like this person? Are they, fun? Whatever. I'm talking beyond the job title, but who are they in relation to your business as well? And I think that tying that in before, during, and after the event is, one, going to make events different than other marketing tactics, but that's going to be the number one way that I'm going to optimize how we do that.
And I think going back to wrapping into the concept before of having the event and really doing your homework beforehand is key, because you can get very caught up in running the booth and all the different, everyone fast and furious of things going through during the course of a day at a trade show, in this example. But it doesn't give you that great time to have that one-on-one conversation with someone that really could help grow your business, because you're worried about the 2 or 3 people you see from the side and they're coming at you, and you want to make sure you touch as many people as possible there. It's really developing these strategies to make, again, the best ROI out of the whole experience.
Yeah, and sometimes actually when I work with clients, we research who's going to be there as a company, and sometimes the decision maker is not there. And so if you're exhibiting or sponsoring, you may get a list of attendees, but there are brand ambassador companies for a reason. And so that's the other big thing, is to know, again, who are you talking to and who do you want to talk to? Because taking those strategies and being able to know, well, this is my decision maker, or are they a gatekeeper that can then introduce me to who we actually want to, whether or not they're at that event or not? Because if you are, one, pitching your deal or giving a demo or whatever it may be, and this person is not your target audience, or they may be within the target audience, but they're not the decision maker, it's just spinning tires at that point.
Mm-hmm. It makes a whole lot of sense. And again, you've invested money into making money through this events, and you want to make sure that you're using your time wisely.
Exactly.
So what is the best way for people to get in contact with you to learn more, to be able to have you hands-on help them with experience and really grow their ROI the next time they have an event or taking part in a trade show?
The most active platform that I am for my audience would be LinkedIn. So they can find me, Nicole McNabb. And that would be the most educational way to see the type of content that I push out, the networks or people that I can connect you with as well. I also do YouTube videos every Tuesday at 1 p.m. And so that would be more for people that are ready to deep dive a little more hands-on. So those are the two main platforms. Yes, I'm on other social media platforms as well, but those are really the two to see how you can optimize and how you can apply those into your own business.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I really hope that everyone takes advantage and clicks on the link and take advantage of the Tuesdays to hear more expert information from Nicole on the events and how she works with companies. And I just want to thank you so much for being with us and sharing this with everyone. So thank you again.
Absolutely. Thank you again. And I'm looking forward to being introduced to some of the other experts that you had on the podcast and make some meaningful connections.
All right. Well, that's always a great way to connect with people. So thank you. And thank you so much for joining us again. 30 Days of Marketing Mavens brought to you by Profit Master Business Solutions. Every day there's something more to learn. And I really hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. And I look forward to seeing you the next time.